Hey everyone, just want to give a quick intro to the channel before we get started. So this is a channel for Dante Must Die guides for DMC 1, 3 and 4, with 3 and 4 being focused on Vergil primarily. DMC 1 will be an S rank, whereas DMC 3 and 4 will be a no deaths, no items completion. Quick shout out to Zodiac Must Die for the format, Bic Benedict for the general guide, and devilslair.com for the boss tips. Later down the line could hold some Tekken content and maybe live streaming if this video does well. Mission 1 isn't difficult on any mode, and that's why I'm talking over it here to give an overview on the series. The purpose of this guide is to help a player of any skill level S-rank DMC 1 on DmD. DMC 1 is my favorite game of all time, tied with 3 and 5 depending on the day, and it has a reputation of being very unforgiving and complex for hack and slash games at the time, or even today. But I'd say more than any other game in the series, it's mostly strategy dependent, which is where the main focus of this guide lies: strategy. Your own skill can make up a strategy depending on your skill level, but following this guide should help even an average player, and I say average as someone who can beat the game on hard or normal with items, to be able to S-rank this, one of the hardest games ever on the hardest difficulty, a pretty solid achievement in anyone's book. So just to give some clarity on what this guide isn't, it's not a speedrunning guide, 100% complete, secret missions included guide, it's not a no damage special bonus guide, or a guide which requires advanced tech or super secret tricks or exploits. This is a simple S-rank DmD guide on an almost maxed out character with no items, and that includes yellow orbs as they are counted as items, but if followed correctly you can tailor it to the aforementioned. What makes this guide different is that even DMC 1, the most solvable DMC game, allows for a wide degree of player expression, despite there being only 3 distinct devil arms, 4 usable guns and no styles. So the tactics you'll be seeing will not be the most 100% most efficient, it's just what I enjoy playing and what I have the patience for, but there's a fair bit of room to change things, and that will be highlighted when necessary. I'll be using Ifrit and the grenade launcher for the majority of the game, with Alistair for mobility and non-combat sections, but I'll mention when it's prudent to change to something else. Before trying to S-rank DmD, I highly recommend beating it normally, even if that means beating it with items or continues, just so you know what you're up against. DmD in any game flips the script dramatically, and this game is no exception. Trying to S-rank it on your first run will be very rough, and will probably be slower than if you beat a whole DmD run first, and then go back for the S-rank because of the vast learning curve. Dante deals the same damage to non-bosses and those giant spider enemies, but takes double damage back. Bosses only take a third of the normal damage and deal 5 times damage back. In addition, this is the only game where DTing doesn't regenerate health, so you're solely relying on enemies dropping green orbs, meaning you essentially can't regen during a boss fight, aside from some instances. All enemies are more aggressive, use their special attacks more frequently, and certain rooms which weren't locked battles before, now are. Certain high-level demons such as Frosts and Nobodies also appear much earlier in the game than they would normally, and certain low-level demons such as Beelzebubs basically don't appear at all. Of course, the main kicker is that now every enemy can enter their own DT. In certain rooms a timer is shown for when the enemies will DT, and otherwise it's not shown, but it's still counting down. DT'd enemies are stronger, tougher and harder to knock back and stun, and it's basically impossible to juggle a DT'd enemy without being in DT yourself. The only buff the enemies don't get that you get in DT is the speed boost, but they hold DT indefinitely after gaining it, whereas Dante is limited to the runes. Bosses don't DT in DMC 1 like they do in later games, but they do enter a red health phase towards the end of the fight, which functions similarly. They attack more aggressively, take less damage, deal more damage, and use their special attacks almost constantly. The way DMC 1 is designed means the bosses are the real roadblock of the entire challenge. You'll be fighting at least one boss every 3 missions, with the last 7 missions almost having them back to back. The only thing left to talk about is the S rank. There are 5 categories DMC 1 uses to measure your rank: time, orbs, damage, secret missions, and items used. Interestingly, you don't have to max out every single facet of these requirements, you can mix and match depending on what you're good at, which is one of the reasons I even had the patience to complete this challenge and why I believe anyone can do it. I won't be doing any secret missions, so I'll miss out on that bonus, but I also won't be using any items. The time requirement is easy enough to hit on most missions, as is the red orb requirement, and as long as you don't die and use a continue on a single run, the damage requirement can be satisfied in any mission. That means there's only 2 real things you need to watch out for: time and orbs. If you hit the max point rank for each, then you always have enough to S-rank the mission, as long as you don't use a yellow orb. So I'll be giving the requirements for both time and orbs at the beginning of each mission, and they're the main metrics we need to keep in mind when going for the S rank. I'll be going more in depth on the mechanics of S ranking in my next video, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching and hope you have a great day.